Hi guys, welcome again to my YouTube channel. My name is Naomi Njoroge. I'm a registered dietitian. Today we have a very important topic that I want to discuss with you guys. It's all about the signs and the symptoms of vitamin B12 deficiency. Today I want to have an engaging talk with my guest. He can introduce himself before we start the talk on its own.
Guys, my name is Dr. Let us start with what is vitamin B12.
Okay, vitamin B12 is also known as cobalamin. It's a water-soluble vitamin, cobalamin. It's also known as cobalamin. It's a water-soluble vitamin, and it's among the 8 B vitamins we have. And it's very important because it helps keep the blood and the cell nerves healthy.
That is its use in the body?
Yes, because it helps in fatty acid and amino acid metabolism.
Okay.
That's what's all about vitamin B12.
Then let's get into it about the signs and symptoms.
Also, we can say about the use of vitamin B12. It's very important because it's used in DNA synthesis.
Okay.
It helps keeps the blood and the nerve cells also healthy. So we can get to the signs and symptoms. When you have vitamin B12 deficiency, there are several signs and symptoms that your body may detect that you may result to knowing somehow you have vitamin B12 deficiency. Number one, we have fatigue. Under fatigue, vitamin B12 is used in proper functioning of the cell. So when you have low deficiency of vitamin B12, your cells don't function properly. And when your cells don't function properly, that one results to fatigue. Umechoka. Yes, you feel weak and you feel tired. The other thing about when you have under the fatigue part, vitamin B12 is used in cell synthesis and also the formation of the red blood cells. So sometimes when you have vitamin B12 deficiency, it may result to megaloblastic anemia. Blastic anemia. This is when you have a formation of immature red blood cells or formation of large blood cells.
Okay.
When you have these cells, that means they are not mature enough. So those red blood cells are used in transportation of oxygen to the cells. So when they are large and immature, meaning they are not well functioning. So you don't have enough oxygen being transported to the cells. That's also as a result can result to fatigue. Yes, you get the point?
I get it.
Yes. Then number two, you have paleness and also having yellow skin. Under paleness, it's also the same point of saying when you have vitamin B12 deficiency, having megaloblastic anemia or having that iron deficiency anemia caused by vitamin B12 deficiency, meaning your cells are not mature and they're also large enough and they're not functioning as they should. So enough oxygen or enough blood is not being transported to the cells. That one resulting into paleness. When you go under yellow skin, that one is in a medical term is known as jaundice.
Yes.
Jaundice is having that yellow skin. So you understand when your whitish part of the eye sometimes can turn yellow. That one is as a result of having increased levels of bilirubin in your body. That one results to breakdown of the red blood cells. When you have elevated levels of bilirubin, the skin color tends to turn into yellowish. Yes, so that's another sign and symptoms of vitamin B12, having pale skin and having yellow skin. The other point we have about headache, when you have like severe migraines, like there was a study that was done involving around 140 people, and 70 of them who had severe migraine were tested for vitamin B12 deficiency. When that test was done, about testing for vitamin B, they found out that those who had severe migraine had vitamin B12 deficiency. For the 70 people who never had that severe migraine, tended to have a good number of vitamin B12. So that one resulted as the most common sign of having vitamin B12 deficiency.
Is the migraines ni zile zenye zina come from time to time?
Yes.
Zina pop up from time to time ama ni throughout unasikia tu?
Throughout, they come throughout and then they are very like severe. Like they are throughout and then they are very, it's not like that headache will come on and off. It's very severe in terms of you feel too much pain. Yeah, because when you have vitamin B12 deficiency, your neurological disorders, it affects your neurological effects. It causes neurological effects. Those neurological effects are the ones that results to headache. You understand? So that's another sign and symptoms of having vitamin B12 deficiency. The other point is poor concentration. Another thing is under vitamin B12 deficiency, it affects the central nervous system. When the central nervous system is affected, it affects also the concentration. When this concentration is affected, that one results to poor concentration. Like there was a test that was done for those poor performing people in class. When they were tested, they found out that those people who perform poor in class had vitamin B12 deficiency. And those who perform like good or better in class, the vitamin B12 deficiency was quite normal. Like the research has it, like around 140 people who are tested for migraine, 70 of the people who had severe migraine were tested, and they found out that 70 of them had vitamin B12 deficiency. For those who never had severe migraine, they found out that their vitamin B12 was quite on a good note. So they resulted that as headache as a most common sign and symptom of having vitamin B12 deficiency. Then we have
So you can't focus for a long time you cannot fully concentrate on something for a longer time when you have a deficiency in bilirubin.
Yeah.
Utalala probably ama.
In terms of concentration.
Yes.
In terms of concentration, that's another point different from headache. Okay. So that can be point number 4. When you have poor concentration, vitamin B12 affects the CNS. The CNS is the central nervous system. So when that is affected, it affects the nerves. When your nerves are affected, definitely the concentration will be poor. Yeah, like the research has it. There was a test done for around 132 people. A 3/4 of the one who performed poorly in class had a vitamin B12 deficiency, and for the other a quarter of them who performed better in class had a good number of vitamin B12 in their body. So that one resulted to them finding out that when you have low vitamin B12 deficiency, that one can actually affect your concentration. And the other point is it may result to inflammation of the tongue. We call it glossitis. When you have maybe sores or inflammation of the tongue.
Vidonda.
Yes. This one is also a sign and symptom of having vitamin B12 deficiency. The other symptoms I can talk about is having erectile dysfunction. When you have like low levels of vitamin B12, it may cause a result to erectile dysfunction because of increased levels of homocysteine.
So siku moja tu nikiona signs zozote za erectile dysfunction naanza kufikiria B12.
Yes. Think about going to get a test about vitamin B12. The other one we have about visual disturbance. I told you about vitamin B12 playing a very good role in the proper functioning of the cell. So when you have like vitamin B12 deficiency, it may affect the optic nerve. When the optic nerve is affected, because I said vitamin B12 is used in the proper functioning of the nerve cells and the cells itself. So when you have low levels of that vitamin B12, it may affect the optic nerve itself, resulting to visual
blurry.
Yes, visual disturbance. The other one you have about concentration also. When you have like having low deficiency of vitamin B12, it may affect your motor and sensory nerves, because the whole thing about vitamin B12 is helps in proper functioning of the cells. So when the motor cells and the sensory cells are affected, that one may affect maybe your mental issues.
May cause mental issues.
Yes, may cause mental issues. So I think that whole topic generalizes on about the signs and the symptoms, what is vitamin B12, and what's the use of vitamin B12 in the body. The next topic you can discuss where you can get actually the foods rich in vitamin B12. I know it's another video we're going to do. So I think that comes to the end of a video. People can like, they can comment, they can share, they can always ask questions in the comment section where you can get to know about various videos we can talk about, and then we're going to elaborate them later. So guys, this comes to the end of our topic. We have talked about signs and symptoms of vitamin B12, the use of it in the body, and what is actually vitamin B12. I know most of you might be asking questions on where to find vitamin B12. That involves the food rich in vitamin B12. We're going to do a specific video on that. And then any question that you have, you can always ask down the comment section. Make sure you share this video, you like, you comment, and then you subscribe.
I think also she will be generous to pin the link to my channel, every talk show. You may also like it, share, comment, and then subscribe. See you in the next episode. Bye-bye.
Very nice.